Hi and welcome back to AFTV News Daily. It's 7 p.m. I'm here with Robbie. Well, 7 p.m. in the UK. Depends where you're watching from. How are you, Robbie?
What, you could be watching in Australia.
Could be watching anywhere you want.
Watching in China.
Yeah, could be watching in Italy or Spain, although they're probably worrying about other things right now.
I don't think they're bothered about us right now.
I don't think they are, quite frankly. How are you?
Yeah, good, man. Good. Actually, getting ready to watch the game. I've got my It's Coming Home t-shirt on. I'm ready for tomorrow. I'm actually going to that game tomorrow as well.
Are you actually going to?
Yeah, I've got a
Nice.
ticket to that. So
Wow.
It's the first game of football I'm going to since the lockdown. Because every time I put in for the ballots at Arsenal, I didn't get a ticket. So I'm looking forward to that. And of course, doing the watch-alongs and all that. So it's been brilliant. But yeah,
That's
I'm good,
amazing.
man. I'm good.
You're going to enjoy it. I went to the Brighton game. I found it quite emotional, actually.
Yeah.
In fact, when Cecil did the vlog, everyone was saying James looks like it's his first time at the Emirates, but it felt like that in a way because it was first...
Actually, of course, I know you went to the Brighton game because I gave you my ticket.
I didn't want to mention that.
See how generous I am. Yeah. No, but
generous.
because I still had to do. Yeah, I remember that because I still had to do the watch-alongs. You know what I mean? But
Well, thank you.
no
I had a very
worries,
good
man.
time.
No, good.
Let's go into. We're going to have a. Would you call it a deep dive? I suppose. I just want to break down this Guendouzi thing. He's gone. Like that's it. This isn't. I know it's. I think they're saying it's a loan with an option to buy or obligation, but it's.
Yeah, it's a weird one because.
a weird one.
Sorry, I'm just getting up here.
No worries.
It's a weird one because there's some people saying that there's an option to buy at the end of it, and there's some people that are saying it's just a loan. But I kind of think there is an option.
I even heard it was obligation after a certain amount of games. So it whatever. I mean, the details will come out in the coming days, I'm sure. But we've seen the pictures. You've seen it here in the thumbnail. He's holding the Marseille shirt. He's joined. I actually quite like their unveiling video for Guendouzi. Let's just remind people what happened. We signed Guendouzi the summer that Unai Emery joined, which was 2018. He came in for 7 million from Lorient, I think. No one really expected too much. Suddenly he's playing a lot of games. We really like him. He's got a great attitude. He's playing a lot of heart, passion on the pitch. Arteta comes in. They seem to get on quite well at first. He's starting some big games for Arteta. Arteta was also bringing him on a lot. Do you remember, to sort of strengthen the midfield, add some energy, close some games out? And then Brighton happens in Project Restart, where he grabbed Neil Maupay by the neck. Obviously, there was the Leno injury that day, and things got a bit out of hand. And we've not seen him since in an Arsenal shirt. Since then, it's been rumours that Arteta wanted an apology, never got one. I don't know. It's just one big mess. We know he's had disciplinary issues in the past. What's your gut feeling on what's happened here?
A falling out with a manager.
Yep.
That's just been impossible to repair. Whether that's Guendouzi's fault, whether that's Arteta's fault that he's just said to himself, because football can be very much like that. You can have a manager that just forgives and they get on with it. You can have another manager that says, right, you're done at this club, and it appears like it's the latter. You know what I mean? You're done at this club. He went on loan to her for Berlin. Seemed to be doing well there, but again, seemed to have a little bit of a run-in with the manager. He's obviously got some sort of discipline problem, but it's a real shame because what I used to like about Guendouzi when he played at Arsenal was that even at a very young age, he seemed like a bit of a leader on the pitch. You know what I mean? He always would demand the ball. He never hit. And the other thing as well, why it's a bit sad, is that he's a passionate Arsenal fan. Yeah. Even in when he was sort of saying his farewells, he was saying that he always support Arsenal. Yeah. So it's a shame, and he's a good player as well.
He's a good player.
But maybe it's the best for both sides that he's moved on. And obviously Arteta didn't fancy him because we're not exactly flush with midfielders at the moment. Yeah. So and it's interesting that not a lot of clubs really came in to buy him. Yeah. Which then kind of makes you think as well that as that reputation that he kind of has.
Maybe come before him a little bit.
Yeah, it reminds a bit like Rabiot. Yes. He's also French, and again, he's recently had his big move, but there was a lot of clubs looking at him, but they were like, I don't know. Yeah. Because of some of the baggage. So I think Guendouzi kind of needs to get on top of that. You know, you get on top of the fact that, you know, he's got this reputation, whether it's right or wrong, we don't know, we're not behind the scenes. But he's got this kind of reputation that is not very good to have as a footballer. Yeah,
it's interesting. 58, Godge, I think, 58. Thank you for the super chat. Says Guendouzi needed to go, more worried about Saliba. This is what kind of surprised me about the reaction from the fan base, is that it was divided between people who said, here's another youngster who was valued at 30, 40 million at one point, and we've let him go for hardly anything.
That's the next thing.
You know, and but other people are saying, do you know what? It doesn't matter what we've got rid of, what he's gone for. We just needed him out the club because he wasn't part of the project or part of the squad and part of the manager's plans. The thing that frustrates me, not all players who are successful and play for the best teams in the world are squeaky clean and have the best the best attitude, the best mentality. Some hate losing, and sometimes that overcomes their composure and whatever in the game. But he's a young player, Guendouzi. Couldn't we hone that into something good? Could Arteta? I don't know, but it feels to me like it didn't take a lot for the club to say, you know what, it's not for us. Unless there's more we don't know about. But for me, he's a very talented player. And he'd be playing in our midfield right now.
I just feel that, as I said, in football sometimes, if a manager comes in, and I've spoken to ex-players before and they've said it, that manager don't fancy you, your days are numbered.
Yeah.
And obviously, Arteta didn't like what he saw. And I find it very difficult to really apportion blame because he's had problems with other managers, so you really don't know.
Well, that is true.
But I guess the only thing for me is that, again, it's another young player that Arteta's got rid of. And that guy said Saliba.
Yeah,
he could possibly be going. Well, he's going to go out on loan as well. Could be even at Marseille as well.
Imagine what they'll be chatting about those. Can you imagine? That Mikel bloke's a bit.
I don't know. Listen, if we go out there and we replace him with some other quality players, which it looks like probably that Sambi Lokonga that's going to be replacing him. If we're replacing him with quality, nobody will worry about it. But if we don't, and then he goes on and has a great career and rocks up at, a top club in Europe and is doing the business, we're going to look on it and say, look, another Gnabry. So,
do you know with Arteta, I will say this, I think the club, more than probably with any other manager, they have backed Arteta's big calls a lot. So he wanted Partey for 45 million, he got him. He's wanted 3 centre-backs. Remember, you think he signed Mari, he signed Gabriel, he gave Luiz an extension, he gave Rob Holding an extension, and now he wants Ben White. So despite £27 million Saliba being there, they have backed him and said, fine, we'll try give you this. If it doesn't go right, you think even the Aubameyang contract happened, Arteta wanted to keep him, 250, 300 grand a week, whatever it is. If it doesn't go right, the club have put a lot of stock in this manager, haven't they? They've really said, not whatever you want, we'll give it to you, because that's our problem with the Cronkies, that they're not backing our managers properly. But at the same time, for some crucial things that really you felt there was maybe other ways they could go, I feel they've really backed Arteta. And there's quite a lot of pressure on Arteta now, because people will look at Saliba, Guendouzi and other examples like that if it starts going wrong and say, well, look what it's cost us.
Quite rightly so, there's a lot of pressure on him as well. Yeah. Quite rightly so. And these are big calls. As I said, nobody will, Guendouzi will be a distant memory if whoever comes in and replacing him is better.
Yeah.
And if we become successful, no one's going to care. But now it's all on Arteta. Every decision he makes in this transfer window, he's going to get the blame for. And, and the same for Edu as well. And they made a lot of mistakes. Even on Transfer Daily this morning, I'm talking about who signed Runnison, who's another player that's about to go out on loan to Turkey. Yeah. Who signed him? What were they watching? What were they thinking of?
Yeah.
Reportedly on 40 grand a week. Runnison. So, you just look at some of these decisions, and every move that he makes now, he has to, he's lucky to get this season after finishing 8th, 2 seasons in a row. He's going to have to nail it now.
Yeah, I
Mikel
agree.
Arteta. And there was somebody the other day who, I can't remember if I was doing a show with you or Turkish, and they had a comment on there where they said, for a guy who's a young manager who's been given a chance, it's really weird that he doesn't give young players a chance.
That's a really good point.
You know?
That's a really good
Because he's
point.
a young manager who's come in
Yeah.
and they've trusted him. 2 8th place finishes, but they've still trusted him in the league. They've trusted him this summer and said, we're going to give you the money to spend, whatever that money is.
Yeah.
Right? And we're trusting you with next season.
Yeah, no,
And
do you know what?
does he send out the same trust to young players? The evidence is not really there. Martinelli doesn't really play him. Right? We'll have to wait and see if he does more this season. Guendouzi bombed out.
Yeah.
Balogun couldn't get a game, not ready. You know, Willock sent out on loan. Well, I guess Willock, I didn't complain about that because I think he did need to be sent out on loan and he proved successful. But big calls he's made on young players.
Do you know what? I completely agree. Actually, that is such a good way of putting it. Do you know, I hadn't thought of it like that. You know, for someone who has benefited in managerial terms as the young manager who's been given a chance, that's a very good point.
He's not
and
given,
he's not got everything right himself.
No, Saliba, who said, I've never been given a chance at Arsenal. So, big decisions, and if he's proven right,
But the reason
everyone's cool.
But the reason there's so much pressure as well is this isn't just a first team coach like Emery who kind of, for all Emery's problems, had to deal with what he was given. This is a manager who he is now a part of the recruitment process with Edu. The club said that. They said Arteta and Edu will work together on signings, on squad building. He's at the heart of it now.
He came in as a head coach. He's now the manager.
Yeah,
he has the call between him and Edu on all signings. That's why, again, they've got to get it right. When people would have heard me this morning on Transfer Daily moaning a bit about, I just want to make sure that Arsenal get the priorities right. And, I'm not complaining about the potential signing of Ben White, but what about the attacking midfield area?
Yeah.
And I'll only be happy with the signing of Ben White for, say, £50 million if we get that attacking midfielder. I know you're gonna talk about
James Maddison.
Yeah.
Well, let's go into it. Let's just take these super chats really quickly. The signature, thank you very much. Super chat says Arsenal's new transfer policy is younger players. Arteta mismanaged all these young players. Good managers manage players well with issues. I agree with a lot of that. Another super chat as well from the signature, thank you, says Grealish had issues, Villa managed him well.
That's a good point.
Did he? I can't actually remember. Yeah, fair enough.
Grealish was laid out. I remember he was over in Ibiza or something.
Was he?
Yeah, he was laid out on the floor in the lockdown. Remember Grealish? That picture of him in his dressing gown, smashed his Range Rover up at that. I think he even got done for that.
Yeah,
he broke the rules of lockdown. He has had a few little things behind the scenes. So.
But you're right. You manage them and you look after them. Victor, the super chat says, "It's sad to see Arsenal not a big club anymore. We let Guendouzi leave, possibly Smith Rowe, act like a big club and sign Camavinga, £30 million bargain." 58 Godge again with the super chat says, "Arteta's a head coach. Is Edu calling the shots?" No, Arteta's the manager. That's the thing. And then Sue Dip says with the super chat again, thank you. Says United signing Camavinga, Varane. What's Arsenal up to? Very, very good point. Yazavi with another super chat has just come in saying, "I'm okay with Guendouzi and kind of okay with even Saliba, but if this continues and impacts players like Martinelli, Balogun and Willock, it will be really unfair. Arteta has neglected these players." I mean,
and that's what he said. He's looking like Sambi Lokonga. Is going to be the replacement for Guendouzi. We know that. Again, young player, 21.
Yeah.
Really highly thought of, real big prospect. So let's see, if he comes in and he does the business, we may not be as worried about the Guendouzi one.
Yeah, agreed. Let's go into what that area you just mentioned, the number 10 area attacking midfield. And we know last year, all reporters saying that Arteta loves Aouar, wants to bring him in. News was emerging yesterday that Aouar, is basically boycotting training. He has come out and said that that's not true. Yep. He's actually been, I think he's had some personal issues. He's been unwell. Okay. So, he's kind of put that to rest, which is good. Actually, I like it when players come out and stick up for themselves and say, listen, fake news. But I do think he's up for a move. I think there's been a lot of reports that he would like to leave if the right offer came in. away from Aouar, and we'll discuss whether he's maybe an option. Apparently, James Maddison, a few reports that 60 million quid is what Leicester are looking for. Others have said a crazy offer. 60 million doesn't sound crazy to me. I'm thinking more 85, 90 million is more a crazy offer. Do you think either one could happen, Robbie? Are we just being stupid?
Hossim Aouar's a possibility. I think, the rumours are Hossim Aouar could be available for around about £25 million to 30
Sounds
million.
a no-brainer, doesn't
which
it?
is last year it was about 50 million. Yeah. So, Lyon didn't qualify for the Champions League. The teams over in France suffered even worse than us in the pandemic.
Yeah, massively.
They remember they halted football. They didn't even complete the season. So all of those clubs, apart from PSG, obviously, are in financial dire straits. Look at Lille. They've had to sell literally all their crown jewels.
Imagine that. They finished top of the pile.
Top of the pile, won the league. They've had to sell Boubakary, Samir. Renato Sanchez is probably going to go. They sold their top goals. It's been a fire sale, and they won the league. So massive financial problems for some of those clubs over there in France. So I think Lyon would sell him.
Yeah.
It'd be a great signing for Arsenal. Why not? And then there's a James Maddison one. For me, if it's 60 million, we should be trying to get that. If we're paying £50 million for Ben White, which for me, we could do without. I'm not saying, as I keep saying, I'm not against that signing, he's quality, but we could get by without Ben White.
Yeah, we could, yeah.
There's nobody at the start of this window who said, we need a defender, apart from Arteta, right? We could get by without Ben White. But we need an attacking midfielder, a creative midfielder, a midfielder that scores goals. Maddison fits the build. If we're paying 50 million for Ben White, 60 million for Maddison, for me, is a no-brainer. Go in and get him. If it's Jadon Sancho, who's a brilliant player, but he costs 70 million, I think, you've got to look at Maddison and say he's in and around that bracket as well. He's Premier League proven. He was knocking on. There's a lot of people who thought he'd get in the England squad. He's very unlucky because there's so many good players in that area. Grealish and Mount and people like that. But he's quality.
Yeah, he's a great player.
And he got an injury just before the Euros as well, and was just coming back. So if it's 60 million, act like a big club, like a guy said, and go and get that done. Obviously, we don't know if it's 60 million. I kind of get the feeling they'd want a bit more than that.
Chelsea. I know Chelsea have money, right? But Arsenal could do what Chelsea did in the summer of 2016, I believe. 15-16 season, they finished outside the top four. I think they finished 10th. They went and got Kante because he was outperforming. Well, I know he won the league with Leicester, but he was clearly world class. They picked him up. They shot up the table with no European football. They won the league. Why can't we be the club that looks at, with all due respect to Leicester, because they are on a superb trajectory and they're acting like more of a big club than we are. But why? So are Villa. Why can't we ever be the ones to just say, let's go get James Maddison? Because he's playing for a team that are doing better than us, so let's just take him and we'll be better. Sometimes football's as simple as that.
That's what big clubs do. You go in and you say, right, you know what? We want him. That's what United have done with Sancho.
Yeah.
Very difficult deal to get done, but they've done it.
Yeah.
Right? We never seem to do those really difficult ones.
Not the really difficult ones, I agree.
We never seem to do those really difficult ones.
Gabriel, 27. I'd say Pepe, but even then it's over loads of instalments and it was a price that no one else wanted to pay.
And even the Pepe one, like a lot of other teams have kind of done their business already. Yeah. So we was able to kind of sneak in, right? We sneak in a lot. Why don't we kick down the door for once, right? James Maddison, if it's 60 million, we should be getting that done.
Yeah.
Forget Ben White for a minute if we ain't got enough money. If we got enough money, buy both. But if we ain't got enough money, forget Ben White right now, because you know what? We've got Saliba who could play there. We've got Rob Holding. You've even got Chambers who could play there. You've got Gabriel and you've got Pablo Mari, right? Yeah. The priority in the attacking midfield area, the only person we've got is Emile Smith-Rowe, and he's not really a creative player.
No, I know. He's more of a runner and a goal scorer.
He's a goal scoring number 10. He's a great player. Love him.
Yeah.
But he's not going to put that through loads of those killer passes. Yeah.
He's not an Odegaard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's not like he's someone who's going to curl it in from the edge of the box. He's not a free kick specialist like Maddison. Get it done.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Get it done. If you want him and he's that sort of money, get it done. destabilise the player, and a lot of people do with us. We got Villa trying to do that to us at the moment.
It's mad.
Apparently, readying a third offer for Smith Rowe.
I was going to ask you about that.
I just want us to priorities.
Yeah.
Priorities. That's it. If you ain't got a lot of money to spend,
get the ones you have to do done.
Yeah. Back in the day, right? You might not know this, James, but right, you might not know about this. As you're telling me before the show that you used to live near Trevor McDonald. Right?
My parents.
Sorry to talk your business, you know what I mean, right? But if you're broke, and you ain't got a lot of money, right? And, I don't know, you got 50 quid. You don't go out and buy the latest bit of clothing, do you? You go and buy some food to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah? Priorities. Priorities right now is we need an attacking midfielder. We need a defensive midfielder, especially if Xhaka goes. I know we brought in Sambi Lokonga's coming in, definitely coming in, but he's a young player. We're going to need someone, maybe hopefully a Locatelli or someone, if we could possibly pull that off.
Yeah, imagine.
But even if we don't get those positions, attacking mid. Last year, Aubameyang, Lacazette, starved of creativity.
Yeah, they were fully.
Sort it out. That's the priority, not Ben White. That's my opinion.
I completely agree. Well, I completely agree. I love Ben White. I'd still love to see him come through the door, but I completely agree. If that's at the expense of other signings we need to make, I struggle to get on board. Let's just end on loads of super chats because loads have flown in suddenly. Usopp says, a defender who can play from the back is a must in this system. Without Luiz, we have no one who can do this. I do agree with that, but again, at what
Saliba
cost?
apparently is good at playing out the ball from the back.
Yeah.
That's when we bought him, that was one of his fortes.
Ashwin says, sorry Ashwin, thanks for the super chat, but I've just missed it. Basically saying how long we keep hearing imminent and all these things, but the signing never gets over the line. I completely agree.
Lokonga's coming. Yeah. Tavares, I think those two are definitely happening.
Yeah, I think so too.
We do a couple of D-Mensa says Brighton have signed a new box-to-box midfielder. Does this mean Basuma is happening behind the scenes? You never know.
Imagine.
He could be on his way to Liverpool. That boy random says last season our main problems were creativity and end product. Shouldn't that be our priority, or am I missing something? You're 100% spot on.
Jorid says Saliba isn't Maldini. He needs to develop this Arsenal team. Might harm him, and there is much negativity around the club business. While most clubs are the same, but most clubs don't have to do as much work as we do. 1980 Rules says, with the focus of signing young, promising players, what players do the leadership and mentoring responsibilities fall to? Are they capable to lead? It's a good point. How many leaders do we really have in this squad right now?
Tom says if Arsenal are looking at a keeper to really compete with Leno, this means to me that Leno is unhappy and most likely will leave next year. Hence, we cocked up with Martinez. Also, any truth behind the Ake rumours? I've heard that Nathan Ake rumours. I don't believe that.
Surely not.
The Leno thing is disturbing as well, because if Leno does go, and we were linked this morning. I was talking at Transfer Daily to Neto. At Barcelona, and if Leno was to go and it's Aaron Ramsdale or it's Sam Johnson again, who made that decision to get rid of Martinez then?
And then sign a number two who's not good enough to be a number two.
Yeah, and Runnison, cock up. Andy Arsenal says when people say trust the process, which is the trust the Kroenkes, that's a joke in itself.
Yeah, I hear that. Well, Robbie, thanks so much for joining me.
Brilliant, as always.
Right, remember, we're going to be live in, not long, at 5:30 on the Don Robbie channel.
We are.
I'm starting to get nervous.
Italy game.
Italy versus
you're
Spain.
A big Italian fan, James, of course.
Yep.
His parents Italian. Predictions?
I think it will go to extra time. But I don't know what happens after that.
Ooh, don't write off Spain, people.
No,
right?
don't write them off. I agree.
A lot of people have just said it's an easy win for Italy. I don't think so. But I do think Italy will prevail. Locatelli to score, and then he joins Arsenal next. No.
Imagine that.
I'm thinking two-way. No, I got a feeling Italy will win it, but I think it'd be a closer game than we all think.
Fingers crossed. And don't forget
Italy-England final.
Oh, God, can you imagine that? I'll just be drinking champagne all fine. I'll be enjoying it. And don't forget to check out AFTV VIP. The link is in the description below. $2.99 a month. There's a 2-week free trial for all sorts of exclusive content. Check out How's Your Touch as well, because it's just hilarious watching Cecil lose his head over that. Robbie, thanks so much for joining me. We'll catch you on the Don Robbie channel in a second. See you soon.